I could really see just how massive the animal actually was. The closed distance between us within seconds. Could have reached out and grabbed me by my hair. You can't freeze.
We've all heard of werewolves, vampires, ghouls, and of course, zombies. But have you ever heard of the Michigan Dogman? Unlike other creatures of lore, this mysterious being comes with alleged proof of its existence.
Absolutely. There's been lots of reports about them being deployed in operations in Syria, as well as operations in the Middle East.
Eyewitness accounts, chilling encounters, and eerie footage paint a haunting picture of a predator lurking in the shadows. Does the Dogman truly exist? Join us as we unveil the proof that will leave you without doubt about the existence of the Michigan Dogman. The silent myth. The Michigan Dogman legend is said to have started in the late 1800s, with the first sighting reported in 1887 by two lumberjacks working in Wexford County. They described a scary creature standing 7 feet tall, with the head of a dog and the body of a man. Its eyes glowed blue or green, and its howl wasn't like any typical animal's sound. It resembled a human scream. Strangely, it walked upright on its hind legs, moving in a way that unsettled those who saw it. Over the years, numerous people across Michigan, especially in the Northwest Lower Peninsula, have reported seeing this mysterious figure. According to local law, the Dogman appears every decade, specifically in years ending in 7. While the logic of this pattern might be hard to grasp, the consistency of these accounts fuels the legend. Unlike werewolf tales, these sightings come from various eyewitnesses who often share strikingly similar details. The legend gained even more attention when someone claimed to have captured footage of the Dogman. The video quickly gained attention as proof of its existence, sparking fear and curiosity. Many began to believe that something mysterious lurked in the woods, watching and waiting, while its true nature was still unknown. Face-to-face encounters. In 2007, Micah Grusser released a 1970s film that reportedly captured what many believe to be the Dogman on film during a family vacation in northern Michigan. The footage, though grainy and shaky, has become one of the most talked about pieces of evidence tied to the legend. The first part of the 3-minute video is innocent enough, showing the family laughing and enjoying their trip. But then everything changes. On what seemed like an ordinary day, the person with the camera spotted something strange in the distance. The camera jerked as he pointed it toward the figure. Moments later, chaos erupted. The person with the camera could be seen running, the creature closing in behind him. Somehow, the person escaped, leaving behind a terrifying glimpse of what he encountered. But this isn't the only visual proof. Years later, another piece of footage emerged, this time from a renowned cryptid researcher, Scott Carpenter. Using a backtrail camera mounted on his shoulder during a field study, Scott unknowingly captured something lurking behind him.
Normally with a Sasquatch, if one's in the area, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, you can feel that they're around.
It wasn't until he reviewed the footage later that he spotted movement, a dark shape weaving through the foliage. Intrigued, he slowed the video down, frame by frame. What he saw left him stunned. At first, Scott hoped it might be a Sasquatch, a creature he had studied for years. But as the image became clearer, he realized this was no Sasquatch.
First, I was hopeful it was a Sasquatch, but then when I slowed it down and blew it up, it was obviously not a Sasquatch.
The figure had a visible snout, its nostrils flaring as it pushed through the underbrush. Unlike the flat face of a Sasquatch, this creature's features were undeniably canine. With 2 chilling videos and countless questions, the mystery of the Dogman deepened. And still, the search for answers wasn't over. The Dogman Tales. The fascinating thing about the Dogman is that sightings of this strange creature have been reported worldwide, not just in America. Just as we mentioned earlier, the first recorded encounter dates back to 1887 in Wexford County, Michigan, when a group of lumberjacks claimed to have seen a beast with the body of a man and the head of a dog. Then, in 1917, a chilling incident occurred. A policeman patrolling a remote road stumbled upon wagon tracks leading nowhere. Nearby, he found 4 dead horses, their lifeless eyes frozen wide in terror. An autopsy revealed the cause of death wasn't physical injury, it was sheer fear. Fast forward to 1938, when a fisherman on the Muskegon River in Michigan had an unforgettable encounter. As he cast his line, a massive dog-like creature emerged from the brush. It rose on its hind legs, growling before disappearing into the forest. Skeptics might dismiss these as old stories, but modern sightings prove the legend persists. In 2007, a prominent politician in Benzie County, Michigan, had a bone-chilling experience while driving home late at night. His identity remains hidden, but the account was shared by his brother-in-law. The man was traveling down a lonely cinder road when his headlights caught the reflection of 2 glowing eyes in the distance. At first, he assumed it was a deer. As he approached, however, he realized this was no ordinary animal. The figure stood between 6 and 7 feet tall, its eyes level with his windshield. He slowed down, expecting the creature to move, but it didn't. As he got closer, the shape became clear. A massive, wolf-like beast standing upright beside the carcass of a deer. When the politician brought his car to a halt, the creature stood frozen in the glare of his headlights. It hadn't moved, and for a moment, he wondered if it might be a prank, maybe a giant stuffed animal set up to scare drivers. But before he could finish the thought, the creature bolted into the nearby woods with unnerving speed. Shaken yet curious, the man decided to investigate. He stepped out of his car and approached the spot where the creature had been. In the soft mud, he discovered a massive paw print. Grabbing his digital camera, he snapped a picture. The print was unlike anything he'd ever seen, measuring nearly 8 inches across, twice the size of a wolf's, and deeply pressed into the ground. Whatever made it was incredibly heavy. To emphasize its size, he placed a shotgun shell inside the print before capturing another photo. The sheer scale of the paw was startling, but it wasn't enough proof on its own. Still, the man knew better than to follow the trail into the dark woods, especially after what he'd just witnessed. When asked later if the creature could have been a bear, he firmly dismissed the idea. As an experienced hunter, he knew exactly what bears looked like, and this was no bear. The towering figure, easily 8 to 10 feet tall, was something else entirely, and as many others had claimed similar sightings, he was convinced it was real. Fast forward to 2022, when the mystery took another strange turn. The Armadillo Zoo in Texas became the center of attention after releasing an CCTV image captured in the early hours of May 21st. The footage showed a bizarre figure prowling outside the zoo at midnight. Its shape resembled something out of a horror movie, a tall, werewolf-like creature walking upright. The zoo shared the image on social media, asking followers to help solve the mystery. News networks picked up the story, and theories ran wild.
Not the HBO, or I'm sorry, the Netflix hit series, not that Stranger Thing, another one.
Yeah, a photo, actually, and it comes from Amarillo, the zoo in Texas. Some sort of creature, Matt Winter not. Like I said, someone could be wearing a costume, we're really not sure. But this picture was captured outside of a barbed fence.
Despite countless efforts, no one could identify the figure. It marked the second time this mythical creature had made it to mainstream media since the 1980s. Dogman Groove.
I think they may have a dogman in the area. But anyway, shall we? Please.
Before the 2000s, the Dogman wasn't a legend known far and wide. In fact, only a small number of people had ever claimed to see it, and those who did were reluctant to speak up. After all, how could they explain encountering something that looked like a dog, yet stood upright like a human? The fear of sounding insane kept their stories locked away. That changed in 1987 when a local DJ named Steve Cook unknowingly unleashed the legend. Cook, inspired by Halloween, wrote a spooky song about a mysterious dog-like creature stalking the woods. It was meant to be nothing more than a fun, fictional tune for entertainment. He had no idea that his song would ignite a firestorm. The day after the song aired, Cook's station was flooded with phone calls. Listeners claimed they had seen the very creature he described. At first, he brushed it off. Surely they were mistaken. He had made the entire thing up, every detail coming from his imagination. How could anyone claim to have seen a creature he invented for a joke? But the calls didn't stop. Dozens turned into hundreds, and over time, thousands of people came forward, sharing eerily similar stories about encounters with a dog-like being that stood on two legs. Cook's skepticism began to waver. The more he looked into it, the more he realized there were countless eyewitness accounts, spanning decades, all describing the same thing: a terrifying, upright, dog-like creature. What started as a light-hearted prank had unraveled into something far more sinister, and as people dug into the case, they realized that this creature had been talked about in ancient times. Mystery creature from the past. Some theories suggest the Dogman is more than just flesh and blood. It could be something spiritual. An elder from the Ho-Chunk Native American tribe believes these beings are spirits from another realm, temporarily taking on human form when they cross into our world. Another perspective rooted in Native American lore ties the Dogman to skinwalkers, humans said to possess the ability to transform into any animal. However, the Dogman seems to deviate from the traditional skinwalker legend. Some believe it might be a shape-shifting skinwalker trapped between its human and animal forms, leaving it in a permanent, unsettling hybrid state. If you search for skinwalker imagery online, you'll often find depictions of creatures with animalistic heads, but distinctly human torsos. Could that be because, at its core, it is human? Skeptics argue otherwise, of course, and with good reason, but it's hard to ignore how the Dogman legend seems to stretch far beyond recent sightings. In fact, echoes of such creatures date back to ancient civilizations. These societies, which laid the foundation for much of human progress, often depicted beings with a strange blend of human and animal features. While we dismiss these creatures as myths, they immortalize them in art, stories, and even worship them. Take, for example, the Egyptian deity Anubis. Revered as the god of funerary practices and protector of the dead, Anubis was depicted as a human figure with the head of a canine. During the Old Kingdom, Anubis was one of the most significant deities associated with death and the afterlife. Why would the Egyptians revere a being like Anubis, a figure so eerily similar to the Dogman, if it was merely a figment of imagination? Could it be that the Dogman is not a modern legend, but a creature intertwined with humanity's earliest history? Well, in the 5th century BC, Ctesias, a Greek physician at the Persian court, described men in India with the heads of dogs. They weren't solitary beings either. Ctesias detailed entire communities. These creatures communicated by barking, hunted for survival, and wore animal skins, living in ways that seemed both primitive and calculated. Centuries later, Menaias, a Greek traveler, claimed to have encountered these beings himself in India. His account didn't stop at a single sighting. he described meeting a thriving group of them, functioning as a society. Herodotus, widely regarded as the father of history, also recorded tales of dog-headed men, this time said to inhabit parts of ancient Libya. Even Marco Polo, during his travels, noted the existence of such creatures. Unlike the others, though, Polo painted them as savage and barbaric, living cruelly and violently, a stark contrast to the more subdued accounts from India and Libya. What's striking is how consistent these reports are, despite being from vastly different times, cultures, and locations. The details may vary. Some dogmen lived in seclusion, others in organized groups, and some as hunters. But the core descriptions align. Beings with dog-like heads and human bodies caught between beast and man appear across centuries of human history. Adding to the mystery are modern accounts of animals found in the wild, drained of blood and eerily intact, as if killed elsewhere and dragged to their resting place. This gruesome pattern has led many to wonder if creatures like the dogman still walk among us, hunting silently in the shadows. Initially, exploring the Michigan Dogman seemed like a localized mystery, one tied to the woods and open fields of Michigan's countryside. But as more reports emerged, it became apparent this wasn't just a Michigan story. Witness after witness shared their encounters, describing the same towering figure with terrifying precision. For some, these encounters were brief and harmless. For others, the trauma lasted a lifetime. Some didn't live to share their stories, leaving behind only whispers of their fate. Deep investigations have begun uncovering their true nature, hinting at something far more complex and dangerous than anyone imagined. Shocking facts about Dogman. As mentioned earlier, the Dogman is typically described as a creature with a canine head, giving it distinct dog-like features. However, reports of its appearance vary. Some witnesses say it walks on two legs, resembling a humanoid with a dog's head, while others describe it moving on all fours before standing upright. There are even accounts of a creature with human-like hands but dog-like claws, and legs that look more human than animal. Some compare the Dogman to Bigfoot, noting its humanoid shape, dog-like chest, and canine head. While Bigfoot sightings often feature an upright creature that appears more human, an upright walking dog is something entirely different. There's no evidence such a creature has ever existed. Dogman is a terrifying, monstrous being, unlike anything in the fossil record. Cryptozoologists believe there are at least 7 different types of dogmen, including the type 3s and the canine variants. While these creatures come in a variety of shapes and sizes, one feature stands out in nearly every sighting: their snout. Whether black, gray, brown, or even orange or reddish, the Type 3 dogmen are known for this distinctive characteristic. One of the key differences between dogmen and other cryptids, like Bigfoot, is the structure of their legs and knees. Type 3 dogmen are said to have legs and knees similar to a human's, giving them a more ape-like appearance, but the snout sets them apart. Many witnesses have confused them for Sasquatch due to their overall size and shape, but the snout is a clear giveaway. The Type 3 variants are even more intriguing. Variant 1 is described as tall, lean, and muscular, with a baboon-like head. This has led some researchers to speculate that dogmen may actually be giant baboons. When you think about it, they share many features: the snout, sharp teeth, strong hands, and long, powerful legs. This connection has sparked much debate about their true origins. Variant 2 of Type 3 dogman presents a more human-like body, but with the head of a dog, often compared to a chow breed. Due to their human-like shape, many people mistake them for werewolves, especially in folklore. However, there's a crucial difference. While a werewolf transforms from human to beast, the Dogman is born as one, living and dying in its monstrous form, never shifting into a human being. The third variant of Type 3 Dogman is often mistaken for Bigfoot because of its ape-like body and similar size. However, what sets this variant apart is its distinct muzzle. Its hair is sometimes described as puffy, and the overall appearance can resemble that of Sasquatch, but the addition of the muzzle creates a terrifying difference. The canine Dogman resembles the werewolves from modern horror films like Underworld and Van Helsing, blending human and canine features into a terrifying creature. With massive heads like a dog's, their muscular bodies have the build of a bodybuilder, yet their appearance is lean and streamlined. They have human-like hands with claws that measure between 2 and 3 inches, but their legs are distinctly canine. Standing between 7 and 10 feet tall, these creatures are formidable, both in appearance and presence. The canine variant one is the thinnest of the bunch, resembling a timber wolf standing on its hind legs. It looks just like a wolf, but unnervingly upright, with fur ranging from black, brown, white, or gray. Witnesses describe this variant as almost frightening natural, standing tall like it belongs in the wild, but exhibiting a chilling, human-like posture. Canine Variant 2 is more menacing, with traits reminiscent of a hyena. This version is rougher in appearance and often spotted with colors ranging from black to brown. Some reports even mention its eerie, grin-like expression, making it appear as though it's smiling in a sinister way. There's a mystery around whether this type retains the hyena's iconic laugh, adding an unsettling layer to its already terrifying nature. Canine Variant 3 stands out with its athletic, bodybuilder-like physique. This type is the most frequently spotted, with a muscular build, pointy ears, and a height that puts it in the realm of werewolves, seen in films like Underworld and Van Helsing. Its strength and agility make it a prime candidate for sightings, and its wolf-like head only amplifies its menace. Then there's Canine Variant 4, also known as the Soldier. This breed of Dogman is arguably the most terrifying, with an unusually large head, sometimes described as a fat head, that doesn't seem to fit its lean, muscular frame. What makes this variant stand out even more is its aggression. Soldiers are known to be highly territorial and have even been seen fighting and killing other dogmen. They are the largest and most powerful of all the variants, often appearing as the superior breed. Their fur color ranges from black to gray, but it's their unmatched strength and aggression that set them apart as the most dangerous. The increase in werewolf movies over the past decade may have influenced how we perceive these creatures. Wolves are embedded in our ancient fears, as early humans weren't always the dominant species. Dogmen embody this primal fear, a fear that still lingers today. Unlike other cryptids, Dogman is not always solitary. While many reports mention a single Dogman, there are also stories of small groups, with some sightings claiming up to 20 hunting together. This suggests that Dogmen may be more social than other cryptids. However, sightings of multiple Dogmen are rare, possibly because those who witness such terrifying scenes don't live to share their stories. Dogman sightings are more common in the southern US, with states like Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Texas, New Mexico, Utah, Nevada, and Southern California reporting frequent encounters. Some reports extend as far north as Fresno and the Sierra Nevadas. Dogmen are not confined to one area, much like Bigfoot, which is spotted in various regions. Recently, someone asked if Dogman could be in Arizona. While there are no specific records, given the number of Bigfoot sightings in the state, it's reasonable to think Dogman could be there as well. A common misconception is that these creatures are strictly nocturnal, but there are reports of dogmen being active during the day. They have been spotted hunting in broad daylight, challenging the idea that they only emerge at night. Although most dogman encounters come from forests, there have also been reports from desert regions and along the US-Mexico border. Despite the harsh, dry conditions, these areas seem to support these large creatures. It has only deepened their scary, paranormal reputation. Border Patrol agents, immigrants, and locals shared chilling encounters with Los Lobos, two-legged beasts tied to ancient tales of unearthly origins. Linked to the spiritual. There is a theory that dogmen are linked to demonic witchcraft, much like the werewolves seen in movies. While it's hard to prove, many believe dogmen could be the source of the werewolf legends. Pop culture and our subconscious often draw on bits of truth, even if we don't fully understand them. Some argue that dogmen and werewolves are the same, both born from similar myths, and they might be right. But here's an interesting point. Werewolves have been in stories for thousands of years. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, written around 2100 BC, there are hints of shapeshifters, but the first dogman sighting wasn't reported until 1887. For centuries, people told tales of men turning into wolves or other beasts, but dogmen didn't appear in these stories until much later. The closest thing in folklore are the skinwalker legends. These creatures might have existed much longer than we think, and occultists may have tried to imitate them with rituals. According to some enthusiasts, the transformation ritual is a painful, slow process, while others say wearing a wolf's skin and performing specific rites causes an instant change. There is another intriguing theory suggesting that when someone encounters a dogman, they may not be seeing the creature as it truly is. Instead, they could be under the influence of an occult ritual, manipulated to perceive it in a specific way. Whether this is true or not, the mystery deepens as the world awaits undeniable evidence to expose the reality of this enigmatic being. Calling a spade a spade. The Dogman of Michigan is a tale full of scary accounts and personal experiences, but like many legends, it lacks concrete evidence. To make matters worse, one of the most famous pieces of proof, the Gable film, was revealed to be a hoax. When it first surfaced, the film went viral, capturing viewers with its seemingly genuine depiction of a terrifying encounter. The fear in the clip felt real, the curiosity palpable. But years later, the man behind it, Mike, admitted it was staged. Despite this revelation, many Dogman believers remain unconvinced. They argue that Mike might have been pressured to label it a fake. Rumors persist that the government is far more involved in the Dogman mystery than they let on. Some suggest that officials actively suppress credible reports, using threats to silence witnesses. Allegedly, people who come forward with convincing evidence are warned that their lives or livelihoods could be ruined unless they recant their claims. This theory aligns with other alleged cover-ups, like the infamous Grand Canyon discoveries. In that case, the government was said to have discredited an archaeologist they'd initially funded and destroyed any evidence of their involvement. Some Dogman enthusiasts believe Mike may have been similarly forced to denounce his film. Yet even if the Gable film is fake, other accounts, like Scott Carpenter's footage, haven't been discredited. Until his death, Carpenter stood firm by his claims, and no one has definitively proved him wrong. But skeptics have their own explanations. They point out that the earliest Dogman stories might not have been factual at all, but rather imaginative creations. Take Ctesias, for example. While he's credited as one of the first to write about Dogman-like creatures, his reputation leans more toward being a storyteller than a reliable historian. His works also included tales of dragons, satyrs, and giants towering at 18 feet tall. If anything, his writings might be considered ancient fan fiction and entertaining but hardly credible. Critics also suggest that many Dogman sightings could be attributed to human memory's flaws. Fear, they argue, plays tricks on the mind. In moments of panic, details blur, and people misremember what they've seen. A shadow becomes a figure, a howl becomes a voice, and before you know it, a regular animal is transformed into a terrifying monster. This phenomenon, they say, could explain much of the Dogman lore. Critics often propose a simpler explanation for the Dogman sightings, suggesting the creature could actually be a bear. Specifically, it might be either a well-fed bear or one suffering from a severe condition. Bears, after all, can stand upright and even walk short distances on their hind legs. A large, healthy bear would align with many of the size descriptions given by witnesses. However, not all witnesses agree. Some claim the creature they saw lacked the thick fur that bears are known for. This is where the theory of a sick bear comes in. Mange, a debilitating skin disease caused by mites, has been increasingly observed in American black bears. The condition can result in extreme hair loss, leaving their bodies mostly bare and their skin scarred or damaged. Such bears can appear gaunt and unnatural, looking nothing like the robust creatures most people expect. A sick bear suffering from mange might easily be mistaken for something otherworldly, especially in poor lighting or during a tense encounter. Unfortunately, the credibility of Dogman sightings is further undermined by the sheer volume of fabricated stories and hoaxes. When false reports gain attention, they drown out genuine experiences, making it harder for true witnesses to be believed. The infamous Gable film is a prime example. Its initial impact was immense, but once revealed as a hoax, it cast a long shadow of doubt over similar claims. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching,